For UFC at the Apex, Kevin Vallejos just defeated Josh Emmett in the main event by TKO in the first round, and it was not competitive at all. So we're going to start at the bottom of the card and just very quickly run through. I'll briefly touch on all of the fights, and I will touch on what we hit on and what we missed on, and just kind of our round 3 stats. So to start the card off, you had Pierre Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. I did not watch the first fight, full disclosure, but I'm assuming it went similar to this one. Piero just was throwing the better combinations, had Sam Hughes on the back foot the majority of the fight. Just was fighting much more confidently, was landing the more damaging shots, and just overall, I feel she won all 3 rounds and just controlled the fight from start to finish. So on to the next fight. Luan Lacerda versus Hector Sosa, back and forth war the entire time. Hector Sosa gets the decision win, but it could have went either way. I mean, absolutely fight of the night. If these gentlemen do not get a bonus check, it will be an absolute robbery. They both laid it out there. They both took each other's best shots for the entirety of the fight. Not the greatest technique being thrown the whole time. Not the greatest defense being displayed throughout the fight, but that always causes for an entertaining fight. So hats off to Hector Sosa winning in a war. Lasquita versus Montserrat Rendon. I had Rendon in this one. I just thought her size and just being such a heavy underdog in women's MMA, it's just such a volatile sport. So hats off to her. She got the submission win in round 1 after rocking Rendon very badly a couple times. I think rocked her twice within 30 seconds and then locked in the submission to get the win there. So on to my first most confident pick of the night that we did not go our way. That's Eric Anders versus Brad Tavares. I mean, it was 1-1 going into the third. Both these guys dropped each other. I want to say, Tavares almost got finished toward the end of the first. And then Anders got dropped flat on his face with a punch in the second round. And then he came and just dominated the control time in the third round and got the decision win. So congratulations to Eric Anders, and he actually retired at the end of the fight. So congratulations on him getting a retirement fight. So that puts us 0-1 on most confident picks. So that moves us on to Balaji Oki and Manuel Sosa. This was another banger of a fight, man. I mean, these guys were throwing power shots the entire fight. Like, you were just kind of waiting for someone to go down, and it finally happened at the very end of the third round. Very, very comically. All due respect to Oki, but he went out similar to how Johnny Walker went out. I mean, he got caught right on the chin, and he went flat on his back and smacked his head on the cage, and so hopefully he's okay. Great win for Manuel Sosa. Elijah Smith versus Yu Su Young. We had Elijah Smith in this one. Good fight while it lasted. Elijah Smith gets his first submission win, actually, in the second round. He got controlled in the first round, though. You could say it was an even round, or that he may have lost that first round. But he stayed composed. He handled the grappling situations well, and he came out and got his own submission win in the second round, which not a lot of people respect. I want to say that was a 10-1 prop, so congrats on whoever hit that one. Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. As you know, this was our underdog lock of the week. Didn't go our way, but I don't feel the read was off. Asplund didn't care about the size. I feel he was a bit intimidated once he felt a little bit of Petrino's power, because he was letting him off the hook a little bit more than I'd like. He wasn't cutting the cage off, and he kind of spoke about it in his interviews, how Petrino likes to goat people into fights, and he's not going to get me, and I'm just going to turn and show him my behind whenever he does that. You cannot do that in the UFC. You cannot do that in the UFC. You got to go, and if someone's going to turn their side to you and turn their back to you and act like they don't even want to be in a fist fight, you got to go make them get in a fist fight, man. You got to go make them get in a fist fight. So Steven Asplund, I hope you see this, buddy, because I am a huge fan of yours, and I'm going to follow your career closely. Listen, man, you got to cut the cage off. You got to move forward. You got to throw your volume. That's how you got to win fights in the UFC. You are not going to win fights by calling people to the center and playing that game. No, man, that's not your game. You got to press forward. You got to throw your volume. You got to get in rhythm. You doubled them up on strikes and you dropped them in the first round. This was your fight to lose and you let it get away. Clean it up and don't let it happen again, man. So unfortunately, that is another underdog lock loss. So that's our second underdog lock loss in a row. So we gotta clean that up and get it right back, okay? On to Chris Curtis versus Mitabek Orolbai. This was one of our confident picks that did hit. Chris Curtis just didn't address the grappling. I mean, you would have thought, being Sean Strickland's buddy and seeing the performance that he just put on a few weeks ago, that he would have been much more prepared for Orolbai's grapple-heavy game, but he wasn't. I mean, it's just as simple as that. I mean, Orolbai got the dominant decision win, and it wasn't even competitive. So on to the main card, we have Charles Johnson versus Bruno Silva. This was a close fight. A lot of people were saying robbery and this, that, and the third. I feel Johnson won the second and third round. We had Johnson in this fight. Bruno just was not landing as much in the second and third round. He absolutely won the first round, but Johnson, just like he always does, he just started touching and finding his range and using that reach like he always does. So hats off to Charles Johnson getting the decision win in the main card opener. So on to Ian Cutelaba versus Umar Sy. We were on Cutelaba in this one. Look, like I said in my initial breakdown, Cutelaba is always a great underdog. Just with the tenacity that he fights and the pace that he fights at, it throws people off. He's not a huge feeling out process kind of guy. He'll slow it down from here and there, but man, when he turns it up, he turns it up. And you saw he locked in this submission with how much time was left in the 30 seconds left in the first round. He locks in the submission win and gets the huge upset over Omar Sy. So I don't know where Omar Sy goes from here, but he's got to go back to the drawing board and see what he wants to do. Marwan Rahiki versus Harry Hardwick. I jumped on here a little while ago and I had to do a reaction to this one because this was another awesome fight. Harry Hardwick unfortunately gets his jaw broke, but it wasn't without earning a ton of respect from me and I'm sure a lot of other UFC fans, because a lot of people were counting this guy out, and a lot of it had to do with his last fight because he got completely dominated. His leg got chewed up, got eaten up. His front leg got completely destroyed by leg kicks, and everyone kind of expected the same thing. And it looked like Rahiki was kind of going to that same game plan. He didn't stick with it. First round's pretty competitive. Second round, I mean, Rahiki starts opening up with some combination and shots that are like out of a Tekken game. I mean, it was ridiculous. I don't know how Harry Hardwick was still standing. That guy is tough as nails and absolutely deserves the respect from everyone who watched him tonight. So I can't wait to watch him in his next fight. I know it's probably going to be a while from now since he told his corner. The fight did end by doctor stoppage in between the second and third round. He told his corner they couldn't go on. So hopefully he heals up quick, and it would be awesome to see him toward the end of the year again if he can. I know that's unlikely, but more than likely in a year or so, we'll see him get back after it. So awesome win for Rahiki. He stays undefeated. And now we move on to Jose Delgado versus Andre Fili. Like I said in my initial breakdown, this fight was close, and I wasn't sure on this one. We went with Delgado, but he had a hard time. He had a really hard time. Fili, I don't know, I can't recall if he dropped him or not, but he was definitely touching him with a lot of shots. A lot of good body kicks. He was moving well. I mean, Fili's slowed down overall. You can tell he's just getting older, and he's just, he's been in the UFC forever. He's had, I think, north of 20 UFC fights. He's a great UFC veteran. It's funny to see him with no hair too. I wasn't used to seeing him without the hair flopping around everywhere. But good win for Jose Delgado. He overcomes a little bit of adversity because it was not looking good for him in the first round. It really wasn't. So awesome win for him. On to the co-main event. Gillian Robertson versus Amanda Lemos. I was very confident in Amanda Lemos. This was my fourth and final most confident pick of the night. That did not hit. If you're all right with 8 minutes of control time with little to no submission attempts and 12 significant strikes landed, then Gillian Robertson's for you. I'm not trying to be rude. I'll pull the numbers up here on the screen. I don't see. You see. Maybe you can give Gillian the third round, and I know she won all three on the judges' scorecards. But if you ask me, I feel she lost the first round. I feel she lost the second round strictly because Lemos reversed the situation. I'm sorry, reversed the position in the last 30 seconds of that round, and then proceeded to land the most damaging shots of that round. So if you ask me, that fight was 2-1 Lemos. She outstruck her 42 significant strikes to 12 significant strikes. But congratulations to Gillian Robertson. Gillian Robertson getting her, I want to say it's her 5th or 6th win in a row over Amanda Lemos, who's a proven UFC vet, competed for the belt against Wei Li, as we know, has a win over the current champion Mackenzie Dern. But I just don't think she won this fight. So hopefully she can get her title shot after this, and then we can see exactly where she's at. Because just hearing Dean Thomas in the corner say, "You can finish her, you just got to believe," tells me that Dean Thomas was seeing the fight the same way that I was, and that he thought she was down going into that third round. All right, moving on. Main event. Kevin Vallejos, Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett came out looking young, looking good, moving well. No beard, shaved up, like light on his feet, just bouncing from left to right. I mean, he usually does that to start fights off, but it was a little more than we usually see tonight. And Vallejos was doing what he always does, just kind of stalking, just downloading data, making his reads, waiting for his opportunity. And that's exactly what he did. Every single shot that he hit Emmett with, let me see if I can pull this up here. 43 strikes landed total. And goodness gracious, what is this? 2.5 minutes or a minute and a half? So 43 total strikes landed, 36 of them significant. I think all of them were significant. It was hard to see, Josh Emmett go out like that. He was talking a good game this week, but I think ultimately we all knew this was going to be the result. I didn't think it was going to be in the first round. I thought Josh was going to put up a fight, but that just goes to show, I mean, he's just been wearing too much damage. We talked about in the breakdown. He's north of 500 significant strikes that he's absorbed in his last 5-6 fights. Josh Emmett has now lost 3 fights in a row. Josh Emmett is now 19-7. Josh Emmett has only landed 3 total strikes in his last 2 fights. I think Josh Emmett really needs to get with his team, and Josh Emmett really needs to figure out what he wants to do going forward. All right? I will see you next time in round 3.